first and foremost wanted to say thank you very much for being the very first guest in our makeshift podcast here in Gaming Buddy.
Oh, I'm absolutely honored, and thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Peeyush, why don't we just kind of start off with, introducing yourself?
Sure. So, basic introduction would be I'm a full-time gamer, an entrepreneur, a growth hacker, rebel of sorts, and a visionary with a passion for all things esports and especially MOBAs. But on a personal note, I'm 31 and married, and my parents I haven't grown up yet because obviously of my love for esports and games. But yeah, that's a brief introduction. Professionally, I've got like 10 plus years of work experience.
Oh, that's great to
So
hear.
yeah.
Funny thing you do say there, though, is that you haven't grown up yet because you're into gaming and esports. Do you think that's a thing, that you're not grown up because you're into
No,
that?
so I mean, while I am completely against that, and of course I would you couldn't make me agree to it if you put a gun to my head, but I think each to their own, I would say, and everyone is entitled to their perception on certain things. So yeah, I have no issues with it. I don't really mind because it doesn't bother me at all.
Oh man, that's awesome too. I can already hear we have a lot in common. I think just to give kind of a slight briefing, I'm not aware how much you know about me or Gaming Buddy. The kind of purpose that we were trying to push was to create better matches online and increase positive social interaction in gaming, in every aspect of gaming. And is that something you say you relate to?
I would say, we have, you said we have a lot in common, earlier, but I would say we have much more in common now because, when I started Crowd Control Esports, it was started with a very, very similar vision. Except, so, the idea was to build a grassroots level esports ecosystem for MOBAs in specific. And, we pride on calling ourselves the home for MOBAs, right? And the idea is to essentially eliminate toxicity, create an environment or ecosystem which is absolutely toxicity free, and which really pushes out the all the good things in MOBAs and all the good things esports, right?
Hmm.
And obviously helping gamers and athletes build a sustainable source of income for themselves.
All right, so tell me a little bit more about Crowd Control Esports. How is it? Is it like a kind of an online-based community that you're trying to build, where you're connecting the right people together, or how is that working?
So it is an online-based community. We don't have our own app or platform as such. We use Discord and Guilded and other apps. But the idea behind it is essentially to sort of connect streamers, casters. So a lot of the people, they just focus on one aspect of it, which is the athletes, right? But the community is not just sustained by athletes. You have the production, you have the casters, you have the shoutcasters, the broadcasters, content creators, and then, of course, the coaches and managers, and then the athletes, right? So at Crowd Control, we want to really give a push out to all of these aspects and not just one specific aspect, which is the athlete bit. And so that's where I sort of founded this. And, it's been almost 1 year. We've done a lot of work. We've conducted, various number of tourneys. We've built up a nice support base and, nice sort of platform for the individuals. And I think we're getting somewhere.
That's
Don't
great
know
to
where
hear.
yet, but we're getting somewhere
You're
for
getting
sure.
somewhere. So what's the goal of Crowd Control Esports? Are you guys going to be like the next kind of big community events, online athletes, like esports kind of, or what's the plan?
The end goal is, one of the end goals I would say is to actually have India featured on every MOBA, international MOBA event there is, because as of today, that's not really the case. And there are multiple reasons for that. But, we want podium position is the end goal for, especially in MOBAs, hopefully in all esports, but definitely in MOBAs from my point of view.
I mean, pardon my ignorance. You say you're specifically trying to get India on the map in terms of like esports and MOBA, right? So like,
Right.
is esports something big in India? It's not something that I normally hear a lot in general in Southeast Asia from my. I live in Europe. I'm
Right.
following NA and
No, so,
EU right now.
Well, in the MOBA genre, Southeast Asia is very big, But South Asia is not so big, I would say.
No.
So by South Asia, I mean, the Indian subcontinent, primarily India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So here the FPS genre is more popular simply because of the fact that it's much easier to pick up, right?
Mm-hmm.
FPS is one of those things, you pick up out of the box and then you master along the way, right? With MOBAs, it's very deep. That's the biggest challenge with MOBAs, and that is one of the reasons why it cannot be played by everyone. I mean, I'm not trying to be a differentiator here, but it can be played by everyone, but it needs that level of commitment, time, energy, and passion. And once you've gotten into it, you can never let go. That is one thing I can assure you.
Man, I think that, I mean, I can definitely relate to that as well. I played, you played Dota, you said. I played a lot of League of Legends, and I can't get over it. I'm so loyal to that game for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, us Dota versus League of Legends conversations, they can be never ending at times.
So is Dota and League of Legends, is that something that's really big in India?
Wild Rift is expected to be really big. As in fact, having a chat with one of the people at Riot last week, and we were discussing this, the possibilities and sort of events that we could do. So at this point, I think one of the biggest challenges is League of Legends PC does not have an India server or dedicated South Asia server, because of which there are a lot of ping issues. And I think that is one of the primary reasons why players and teams are not really able to commit to it in that level, and that's why we're not one of the major reasons why we're really able to compete. But yeah,
that's interesting.
I think yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry, not continue, my bad.
So and with Wild Rift, we were very hopeful of it being a huge success in India. League of Legends Wild Rift, but unfortunately, it's not launched, and we don't really have a timeline on when it will be launched. But I can really assure you that is going to be so hugely popular. We've also heard news of a Dota mobile, mobile version of the Dota game coming out, and Pokemon Unite is also a MOBA which is expected to come out soon. So super excited for that.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, that's all coming to India, right? So how about the like online communities in India? Are there really huge online gaming communities that come together, or how does it work down there?
Oh, absolutely. So to give you an example of the size, you might have heard of Battlegrounds Mobile India, which is like the PUBG version of India, right?
Yeah.
Launched by Krafton, and that got 20 million plus pre-registrations from India alone.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot. That is a huge number. 20 million.
Yes, 20 million plus.
Holy.
So you can imagine the scale and the sort of potential of the subcontinent market, right?
Okay. So how is it like PUBG for India, or have you played it yourself, or how?
I do play it, but again, I'm more of a MOBA fanatic, so not the I've played it, I've enjoyed it, but yeah, MOBAs are more close to my heart, is what I would say.
Okay. Now, trying to string this online gaming communities back to the issue that I'm super interested in knowing about is toxicity, and is that something that you experience a lot in India as well in gaming online?
I'm pretty sure, when I say this, and I speak on behalf of the entire gaming community, I don't think there's one nation that can, stand up and say that, we have zero toxicity. I just don't, I wouldn't believe it. While with respect to MOBAs, MOBA is a genre driven by passion, as I said, right? I mean, it's a genre where, you got to be really serious about it if you play. And it's not you can just pick up and play out of the box. So you got to, when you devote a lot of time, energy, and patience to it, and someone just comes and fudges it up for you, it is definitely annoying.
So it's a universal language.
Yes, sorry. I'm very sorry about that.
No,
so again, the passion coming out.
I
right?
love it. I love it.
So yeah, it can be really annoying, but people got to really learn to channelize the way they do it. And I'm not saying I'm innocent. As a teenager, I've had my fair share of toxicity, and I have been involved in flaming and trolling and stuff like that. But yeah, I think as we mature, as we grow older, we do realize it was never really worth it. And I think that's what we got to really explain to people in kinder words. That it's just not worth it.
The thing is, I completely agree with you on that. In terms of kind of a level of maturity, the older you get, the more you understand how much of a waste of time it is actually to kind of have to you're using so much energy to kind of have to troll, and it's not only affecting the others super negatively, but you as well, right?
Exactly,
it's such until you reach the point where you realize that it's not something you can do much about, you kind of just have to work on bettering yourself for the sake of the community. There's not much else to do, but that's not the case, is it?
Yeah, I mean, to be very, very frank, Vicente, I mean, my personal story with that would be the Dota story. So, Dota was like super duper popular in India way back in like 2006, 7, 8, when I used to really play it a lot, and up until 2010. But over time and as of today, the community is almost dead. And with crowd control, we're actually trying to revive that. But the major reason for it dying down was toxicity. And that is what has really impacted me deeply, and in fact, been the major turning point or changing point in my life, where I realized that just because of toxicity, such a beautiful game, such a wonderful game, is dying, and is it really worth it? It's not. So that is why I feel that toxicity is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed, that needs to be understood by the community, and needs to be brought down.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that, because I mean, I can totally relate to the sense of the community that you see built around you when you're so loyal and you enjoy so much a game that you feel is kind of flourishing, but then it's so slowly like just killed off little by little by like a parasite, right? But it's so difficult to muster and difficult to handle. How do you feel like, let's say Dota, if they were to handle something like toxicity in terms of, well, actually, I don't know. With the resource that they have, they must be able to do something about it. Why don't you think that they've done anything about it yet?
I think they have tried it, not just Dora, not just Valve. I think all the publishers have tried, but more than the publishers, I think it's got to be communities and individuals that have got to be self-restrictive and self-disciplined for toxicity to die down. At some point, teams or individuals may get flamed. We all make mistakes, right? And it can be annoying at times for everyone. But I think, so let's say me and you are in a team, and if I'm getting annoyed, you just got to sit by me and say, hey, buddy, calm down. It's all right. We will make up for it, and it's got to be consistent. It's got to be that, okay, so this person getting annoyed, this person getting trolled. And of course, there will be some people who will be, like, no, I don't care. I want to be toxic. I want to be, negative. So then they just got to be removed. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. Until they actually, grow up and understand that, boss, this is not how it's going to work. This is not how things are going to grow.
Wait, so you're telling me...
You just got to be kept out. No.
You're telling me that if Dota sees a kid that's purposefully, kind of griefing or negative attitude, that he should just get completely kicked out of the game. Cold turkey, just straight up.
I'm not saying completely kicked out of the game, but the community, yes. He's got to be, get some solitude to understand that, why am I being singled out, right?
But I mean,
so
I have a counter to that. You just said it earlier. In terms of your level of maturity, you can start playing Dota at very young age, at an age where you haven't, fully matured in terms of your mental state, like mental in terms of handling rage and stuff like that, right? How are you supposed to handle those kids?
I think, in my opinion, there should be an age limit to the chat. That's the simplest way, in my opinion. Until you're mature enough, you can't voice yourself.
Oh. I mean, I can see people going crazy.
Warnings or and I think League of Legends does have that, where you use offensive words, you get chat bans and things like that. So a lot of these publishers are doing things around that. But yeah, we just gotta be more intolerant of it, I think.
What do you think about Riot's new approach with Valorant? You know how they're listening to all the voice recordings of people who are getting reported now. That's their new way of kind of manually filtering like audio toxicity.
I'm not quite sure, I would particularly agree with that. I mean, see that's now just invading privacy, so to speak, right?
Mm.
While playing games, we don't just talk games; we also talk a lot of other stuff, right? And I don't personally agree with that. I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and that's mine. But I think monitoring toxicity should be more about working around enabling people and making them understand what is the challenge, and why you got to stop,
Mm.
rather than just saying a blanket ban. I mean, see, you cannot generalize these things, right?
No, absolutely not.
There's got to be a more specific approach where you try to filter down the issues, bucket them into various categories of toxicity, and handle them accordingly, right?
Yeah, man, I do though want to tell you, I just had an instance, like I think it's maybe 3 or 4 days ago when I played League of Legends. I had a game where I beat my enemy jungler, really, really bad, and then they flamed me in the after game lobby. They were like, "You're just so lucky. You're so bad at the game." But the day after, I got a friend request from a random person. It turns out the jungler added me back to apologize. He actually sent me a message saying, "I'm so sorry that I was toxic, but I was mad at myself. I hope you have a good day." Like,
Wow.
right?
I mean, these things just make your day. These things
Absolutely.
just make your day.
I mean, this is the kind
And
of thing.
yep.
This is just like,
I mean, see that's what, right? MOBAs are driven by passion. Full stop. That's the end of it. We are so damn passionate about it. Sometimes we let the passion get the better of ourselves. But if we're at least mature enough to understand, to realize that, boss, you're making a mistake, just back off, calm down, and then talk. That's all you got to do. And that's my personal learning as well.
Peeyush, that's so much easier said than done. Did you just hear what you said? You gotta keep your ego behind yourself. Take a second and then talk.
Yeah, no, I mean, see, I'm 31, right? So it's definitely much easier said than I've done it over the years, understood my mistakes, looked back and thought, okay, I was just stupid then. I mean, there's no other words for it. I was plain and simple stupid. I've literally ended up into fist fights, so we used to play in these gaming cafes, right?
Yeah.
And I was like 14, 13 or 14 back then, and I ended up in fist fights, right, with people much bigger than me.
Oh no.
For of course, Dota, right? And now when I look back and I just think, dude, you're so damn stupid. I mean, it is just so childish of you. Things could have been so much more different.
It's
So
always
yeah.
it's always easier to see in hindsight what you could have done better,
Yeah.
right?
No, no, I absolutely agree. But then that's the whole purpose of me founding Crowd Control Esports, to really educate, empower, and make people understand, right? And we have taken action on people who've been toxic in our communities. We have kicked them out. We've told them, we've warned them, and we've explained to them why we're sort of removing them from the community. And we've always said, you're more than welcome back when you calm down, when you understand what you've done wrong, and we'd be happy to accommodate you. There's no limit on the number of chances we're willing to give you. But anytime you behave in a toxic manner, you'll be removed. Once you calm down, we're happy to talk. Simple as that.
Man.
And of course, one of the major things that communities or publishers have done about toxicity is the mute button. So, chat mute and voice mute.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the thing,
that's the way
right?
to
As
go.
soon as I go into a League of Legends game, and when I know that I want to try hard, I want to gain some, I want to gain some, climb some rank. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna mute everybody as soon as I get in the game. That's exactly what I do. And the thing is,
Exactly.
it sucks, but at the same time, it helps, and it sucks that it helps. What's the point of?
I mean, come on, it does suck, yeah, but between the two, between getting flamed and just playing with a level head, but not having as much fun, I would say level head, is what I would prefer. Of course, the simple alternate to that is play a 5-man queue, but yeah, that's not easy to find as well.
All right. I mean, okay. I have a question now. You say that you you founded Crown Control Esports for the purpose of kind of both reviving a game that you are so passionate about that's slowly dying in India, if not already dead, like you said, but also kind of ridding the community of toxicity so that you can kind of foster a positive community, right?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
How do you plan to do that, or how have you been doing that so far?
So, I mean, I think just sticking to basics. So, a lot of people, they say that, so what if, even like out of game, right? They come and chat in the groups, in the Discord server that we've created, right? When they do that, uh, it is, I become, and I monitor it at a personal level at times as well. Of course, I've got a team of volunteers and all of that. But at a personal level, I really step in when there's any sort of toxicity going on, and I tell them, dude, you got to stop here. This is not how it's going to work out. You got to really understand what we're doing here is not about you or me. We're building a community so that what has happened in the past does not repeat itself. And for that, you got to understand that we don't want none of us want our favorite games dying down, right? It doesn't help. It really hurts for you as an individual. If League of Legends were to die, in the community that you play in today, you'd be really upset.
Absolutely, I'd be
So
devastated.
when you tell that to gamers and explain it in the right way, they understand. Trust me, they understand.
All right,
At least the majority of them. Full disclaimer.
I do have one concern about that aspect of it, because I know for a fact that I'm extremely loyal to League of Legends, and as I said, for all the wrong reasons. I've experienced so much toxicity. I've left the game and come back. The thing is, I just can't leave. I cannot stop playing. But people and the community stays just as toxic. It's just as toxic as it ever has been.
I mean, in all honesty, so I think it's about driving change, right? A lot of people have, there are multiple esports communities out there. I'm not denying that, but then that's where that's a differentiator for me and my community, because Crowd Control Esports distinguishes itself by saying that hey, we don't stand for toxicity. We won't, I don't care if you're the best bloody player in the world, you're not allowed here if you're going to be toxic. And I think all of the communities got to stand together and say that is when things will start to change. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think at the starting of this conversation, we said I said I'm a rebel, right? So I like rebelling against all things, good or bad. So this is the rebel against toxicity.
Okay, I mean, I like that approach. It's kind of like dealing with toxicity with a hard hand and just teaching them a lesson where it needs to be taught. However, what do you think about that player that you just kicked out of Crowd Control Esports? Where is he going to go? He's looking for a community to be a part of, and he didn't fit in Crowd Control Esports because he was being toxic. But now he's been further kind of isolated because he feels even more unwelcome. Then what happens to him?
No, so see, I sit down and I mean, trust me, I've been personally abused on DMs because of kicking people out, right? And I understand that, right? And I've never replied in kind. I've always just said one thing: listen, I understand you're annoyed, I understand you're angry, and this is my reason for kicking you out. I'm more than happy to have you back. Just calm down, think about what you've done. If you still feel it is right, let us discuss. And if you still think the other person was wrong, let's have a chat. That's what's going to solve the problem. You just talking nonsense, abusing, and whatever is not going to help anyone. So that is one of the ways I do it. And we've had these those sort of forums where if someone is being overtly toxic, or if they're really bullish about something, we get the entire community together, and we're like, okay, listen, this is what not one of us saying, not two of us saying, the entire community is saying. So you got to really understand there's something wrong here, and we're here to fix it with you. We're a community. We're together. We're one. But you got to be part of that one. In order to be a part of that one, you got to really appreciate it and respect it.
Well, that's well said. So tell me, what is the size of the community that you've grown so far?
In the last 1 year, I've grown. The community has grown to about 2,000 strong. It's all MOBAs. So MOBAs are, as you know, not a very popular genre, and I would say it's small right now. But again, there are multiple reasons for that. The community that I built is entirely toxicity free. It stands for something, right? And it is an entirely MOBA community. So yeah,
All right,
all of the rare niches.
So let's try to say that you have your community. Your kind of your methods are working, and you're giving people as many chances as they need, as long as they're not impacting your community negatively. But what about other communities who are trying to do the same thing as you, but they're heavily impacted by toxicity? What?
So I don't just manage crowd control. I work and volunteer with other communities as well, and I try to do the same thing everywhere. My influence is, and I'm more than happy to support any community if they're ready to stand against toxicity.
All right. I mean, I completely I love the whole point of view. I think it's absolutely awesome. Now, tell me what are the reasons that you feel like your community has been a success so far? Like so much love and strength in the community. What are the reasons for the success?
Multiple reasons. So, I think one, I have managed to, in some form or shape, gain the respect of the community. I think that's most important for them to listen to you. If you're saying on the one hand, you're saying let's not be toxic, and then you go in the game and you start being toxic, it's not really helping anyone, right? So and of course, not just with words, with actions as well. You got to really earn their respect. That is when they start really listening to you. Once you've sort of covered that aspect of it, I think it's just organic. And when people hear about you, they see it. We've conducted over 9 tournaments in the last 1 year, right? We just celebrated our 1 year anniversary on the 9th of May last month, right? So it's one year and 1 month now. But we've done a lot of tournaments, and we've got maximum participation. Every single tournament has been packed for us, not a single slot empty. So I think that's our prime achievement across games. So we've done it. So we are initially focusing on only the mobile MOBAs. So games like Arena of Valor, Mobile Legends Bang Bang. We wanted to do Wild Rift, but still waiting for the launch. But yeah, so we've done these tournaments in the past, and right now our next tournament is actually from Saturday, which is a Dota 2 tournament.
That's awesome.
And our very first ever Dota 2 tournament, and that's because we've been working on the community in the back end, and really just bringing it together, trying to work with them to understand everything. What is their expectation. At Crowd Control, I think the biggest the thing we've done right is we've always listened to the community. If they wanted, let's say, we hosted a tournament and we got our first tournament, who expects more than 32 teams in a mobile, especially, right? We just put out 32 slots, and within the first 2 days, all 32 slots were full. That's awesome. First 2 days of registration.
That is awesome.
And we were like just surprised, I'm like, what's going on? I didn't expect this kind of response. Then it went up to like 54 registrations. Now, as an organizer, that's really challenging because you're neither at the 64 mark nor are you at the 32 mark. Somewhere in between. So I got multiple requests and DMs from multiple people that hey, come on, get us in. We don't care how. Please, and all that stuff. So we went through with the team of 48 slots, right? And we managed, obviously the fixtures and all had to be manipulated, not manipulated, I should say. Worked in such a way that 48 teams essentially equals to 3 finalists, right?
Yeah.
So all those equations had to be worked upon, but we've done that, and we've always done it for the community, and I think that is one of the major reasons why they also love us.
Man, that's awesome. So you're working for the community, like you're making absolutely. That's absolutely great to hear, man. You're keeping the community active, and like I think that's an awesome way to keep it. How would you want to say self-sufficient and evolving at the same time? Because you make sure that the people are active and they're interacting with each other. I think that's the important part of a social community. I mean, that's absolutely awesome to hear. Congratulations with a successful tournament, and happy anniversary for Control Esports.
Thank you so much.
I think that's absolutely awesome. Now, let me just hear your input on this. I'm not sure how much you know about what GamingBuddy actually does, and we are actually sorry.
No, I'm listening very keenly.
We're actually creating a new matchmaking for games that we integrate into games. Where you know how in MOBAs, Dota and League of Legends, they matchmake people on the basis of their rank and their skill. But it's in our firm belief, and actually in a tested hypothesis already, that people tend to enjoy their first interactions, social online games, much more when they learn that they have a lot more in common with the people they're matched with. So we decided not only to match people on the basis of like their rank, but also their interests, the humor, their on a psychographical level. What do you think about that? Now go completely honest.
So, okay, so being completely honest, at CC we've built rosters, right? I think that is also an integral part of esports. And one of my fundamental sort of rules has been along very similar lines. That I personally don't care about the rank, and the honest reason for that is rank is also dependent on the number of hours you put in. Like, I'm a working professional. I may not be able to put in, the 10 or 12 hours a day that someone else who's not working may be able to put in, right? That does not justify my skill level. That is the first thing, and therefore that put aside, or that being said, or at a psychographical level, if I'm playing with 4 or 5 people that I have an interest with, I think MOBAs in general are all about sync. I would say 5 people who are very highly ranked versus 5 people who are in sync. The 5 people who are in sync are going to win hands down.
The thing is, I tend to agree on that actually. Wow. I mean, I've had games where just to preface this, my name in League of Legends is Fail for Improve. it's literally my name. Have you ever heard of Faker?
Yep, of course.
His name in English is Hide on Bush. For some reason, I was like, that's a funny name. So I just do Fail for Improve. Also, it's kind of, at least everybody who reads my name gets a notion of what I'm trying to say there. But I've actually noticed that games where I'm with my friends, good friends that some I've met in real life, some I haven't at all, but I've been playing with them for the last 5 years. If I just play with them just to have fun, we actually end up winning games more often than not.
Exactly.
And if I try hard, I lose.
It happens naturally. I mean, trust me, just to keep my volunteers engaged, I play a lot of games with them. I try to teach them. So I've recently been teaching Dota to new people, and just trying to bring them up to speed on how it works, what are the mechanics, stuff like that, to really drive the community or expand the community further, right? And I think a lot of times we end up winning in really unexpected situations. So we have people who are like 2 or 3 ranks above us, and a multiple number of them. So how it's how matchmaking works, right? If you're in a 3-man queue, you'll get a 3-man queue in the opponents as well, and they're not necessarily of the same rank. So while I'm someone who's played put in a decent number of hours in Dota, those guys are new. So we get matched against them, and we're like, oh man, we're gone. So we're busted. And then we just pick like completely random heroes. We're gonna lose as it is. Who cares? Let's just play for the heck of it. And we end up winning. It's surprisingly, pleasantly surprising for sure. At the same time, it is so much more fun when you're just playing for, we play Dota for mental relaxation, and a lot of people laugh at me.
That's
like,
funny.
dude,
that is a
that is not one game you can play.
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again with a straight face, Peeyush. Why do you play Dota?
Sorry, yeah. Okay. I try to play Dota for mental relaxation. It doesn't always end up right, but I try.
Okay. Well done.
After a day's hard work.
Man, imagine that.
But yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I completely agree with that, and I'm happy that you share the sentiment with us. I mean, to us, and it feels like that's a partial owe to the success that you've built your crowd control esports on is that you all have a lot of these similarities with the willingness to want to change the community, to revive the community, to kind of activate MOBA in India. I mean, I think when you find kind of like a common goal that you all are in sync with, then you're willing to build it up. So congratulations with all that success so far.
Thank you so much. I wouldn't say, I think there's a lot more that we have to do.
So
We're just
far.
in the very early stages. Yes,
That's what I said.
yes, we're in the very early stages. I really, my first success would be when I have at least India represented on at least one MOBA at the global level.
At the global
That's
level.
when I'll call it a success. Yep.
That's absolutely awesome, man. I'm gonna be following you all alongside. You'll see.
Oh, absolutely. And likewise, I'm going to be following GamingBuddy and absolutely making sure that a lot of my community members do check it out. And we definitely wanted to see how that the mental matchmaking is going to work.
Oh, that is an interesting topic. Absolutely. I have a big question here, though.
Sure.
I can feel that you're extremely passionate about the subject, and I freaking love it. So I already wrote this in the briefing you got, but if you had the power to make a change in gaming, in the industry, for the better of social gaming, and to push your goals, what would you do?
So now you gave me two questions, like two objectives. One is to push my goals, and one is to for the betterment of gaming. These are two different directions.
Your goals are not for the betterment of gaming.
They are, but
all right. Let's start with the betterment of gaming. Let's improve social gaming.
So to improve social gaming, I think one of the first things we got to do is really have more interactions. In terms of how people sort of, like, as you said, right, the mental matchmaking, right? That has to be really interactive, and so that people know each other at a personal level. When you know someone at a personal level, even if they do be toxic to you, you can really get over it. I mean, not in a bad way. It really helps you get over it. If you know someone in person, and they're toxic to you, like, so just as an example, right? I told you I play with two new guys, right? Now they're both extremely toxic to each other. But that's in a very fun way, of course, but they don't mind either, because you know each other, and there's so much interaction and bonding that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I think what we got to promote is bonding at a mental level, bonding at an emotional level, and of course, MOBAs do half the job for you there, in all honesty. You can really connect with people. So my to give you context, right? My dad was always in a transferable job, right? Every couple of years he'd get transferred, and we've been all over the country and in other parts of the world as well. So it was always difficult to make friends, because every 2 to 3 years, 4 years, you're getting transferred, right? So you don't have those long-lasting bonds. Now, when I stepped into gaming, the first time I picked up gaming was way back in 1997, which was with Quake 3 Arena, right? I that is where I started bonding. I really started building connections, and that's where it started becoming really special for me. It changed a lot of things. It changed the way I sort of bonded with people, and trusted people and things like that. So gaming does that to you. I think that is one of the most important things that people have to learn from outside the industry, that gaming is not just a waste of time. It can evolve you mentally, physically, emotionally, and in so many other ways.
I completely agree.
So, in terms of driving the growth or of the ecosystem, or I think it's all about awareness is the first and most important thing that I would drive. And of course, that would in turn drive the growth of my organization as well, or my objectives as well. Coming back to the latter part of your question, but yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I respect that. Not an easy way to tackle it. I mean, awareness is such a broad term. I feel like everybody...
You were giving me a superpower. Hey, you were giving me a superpower.
Boom! Everybody aware of toxicity. Stop talking shit.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So just kind of to round things off? I think it's been super awesome. What are your hopes of social gaming's evolution in India, especially? Yeah.
Very, very high hopes. I mean, before the pandemic, I mean, we so far, we've been in this conversation for almost an hour,
Mm.
and neither of us, I mean, because we've been so deeply engrossed in our conversation, we didn't address
Oh yeah.
the topic of the pandemic,
Yeah,
right?
COVID was
So,
there.
full disclaimer here, and apologies to everyone watching. Right, we hope you and your family are all safe and sound, and I hope yours too, Vicente.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and
But
you too.
having said that, I think the pandemic has been a major boon to esports in India, in a good way. And I mean, no disrespect for all the losses. I've lost family members, and it's been very hard. I will not deny that. But from an esports perspective, it has really driven esports, out of proportions, because while people are sitting at home, I think they've really learned the value of esports, so to
Mm.
speak, right? And it has helped people bond. We've made new friends. We've built new communities, and it's just grown huge, right? So the future that it holds, in that regard, is definitely very big. It has immense potential. It's growing, multifold day on day, is what I'll
Mm.
tell you. Over the last 2 years, there have been so many new companies of esports in India.
Mm. Okay, so the thing is, you say there's just a boom in terms of the interest in esports and how that's benefited the community. But what do you feel about? There's not just esports. There's also a lot of like social gaming where people use gaming as a way to keep, in contact with one another and spending time together, just in a virtual world. That's been a big
Yeah,
part
I
of it as
mean,
well.
I would actually agree. Sorry, again, us being esports fanatics,
Yeah,
we tend to,
absolutely.
just go that route on everything, or especially me. But to address the social gaming aspect of it, so my wife, she's not an esports player, right?
Mm.
She loves playing a game called Ludo, which is
Yeah.
basically a cardboard game where you have
Yeah.
4 players, and I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but yeah. So and she goes and plays that with the friends, and that's what she does in her free time. And so it has really helped people bond. She plays with her cousins, her friends, and everyone else. So it's definitely something that's helping people socialize. Spend time together, spend quality time together, make new friends, meet new people, all of that.
Man, I mean, I completely agree with you, and I haven't been following in the esports scene in India, but that's something I'd love to do. So watch me DM you in the future on LinkedIn
Oh,
about
absolutely,
different places
absolutely.
where I would learn, if not from straight from you, but learn about esports and the growth of gaming in India itself. It's
Oh,
absolutely
absolutely.
interesting.
I would be, you can definitely watch out for some articles and, content on that as well from me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, I've been so involved with the community, with esports for so long now
Hmm.
that, I think it's long overdue, the, the rise and fall of Dota in India.
So okay, we can talk about this forever, but I have another question
Yeah,
to that. Why
for
why do
sure.
you why do you feel like it can't just be toxicity that killed the the rise of Dota in India, is it? Or what do you think?
So primarily toxicity. Second, so again, I consider smurfing also a part of toxicity, right?
Yeah.
So these were the two major reasons. From the research that I've done,
Hmm.
and I've studied the community inside out and outside in as well. So from both perspectives, it is both these reasons.
Hmm.
There's no other reason.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. But I absolutely hope that you're a major part in building it up because I'd be so proud. Uh,
Oh,
and I
no,
think you're
absolutely,
already on
absolutely.
your
And,
way,
and
man.
the day, Vicente, the day, we were able to achieve, some of my dreams, you'll be the first person I remember.
Let's
I'm,
go.
I'm going to call you up
Let's
and, I'm going to
go.
come down to, Denmark and meet you.
Absolutely. And other
Right?
way around, man. I'm coming to India then.
Oh, absolutely. You're more than welcome.
that that
Let's just wait for this pandemic to get over and, we're going to be meeting soon, I guess.
absolutely. So, if do you have any kind of rounding inputs for this whole topic that you want to share?
So, sort of to conclude, I think for all the people watching, I would just like to conclude by saying that steer away from toxicity as much as you can. Uh, we are all, I'm sure I speak for everyone when we say we're all looking forward to the Gaming Buddy launch, and in India as well specifically,
Thank
so
you,
that
thank you.
we can really, go ahead and see what it holds for us. And I'm super duper excited to share it with my community as well. And I think all the best to esports and MOBAs in particular.
Man, such kind words from Peeyush. What was your alias again? Remind me.
PsyLens.
Silence. Such kind words
Yep.
from Peeyush. Silence in your last name, Kumar.
Yep.
I think what you're doing right now is absolutely awesome, Peeyush. All the power to you. Thank you so much for being the first person, our pilot episode in this podcast,
Oh.
talking about social
I'm
gaming,
honored. I'm honored. I'm
toxicity,
truly honored.
everything.
Thank you so much, Vicente.
Man, Peeyush, and I will stop the recording now. So thank you very much. And
Thank you so much.
I'll also make sure to plug everything that you want me to plug when we announce this on LinkedIn. Don't you worry about that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, it was a really fun interaction, I would say, for sure. And my first as well. So, yeah.